I am the music, the melody, the beat of the drum, the rhythm to which you move, the soul for soul you hum. I'm the fervent, futuristic, fantastic, fragmented, but fully assembled piece of reality that firmly facilitates your temptation. Good God morning. You have tuned into The Solutions. I am your host, Minister Corey Wright. You tune into IntellectualRadio.com, our radio station. I thank God for another day. I'm extremely honored today. Before I introduce you my special guest, as always, we know what the problems are. We know what we need to solve them. What I offer on this platform is dedicated to action that bring about true change. Not just talked about change. Also on this platform, no excuses. Excuses are man tools of incompetence that build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothing. People of God, I am extremely honored. I'm sitting here right now with one of my older brothers on my dad's side, Mr. Terry Shanks. Let me give you a little bit of history. We had the same dad, and I recently last year got in contact with my family on my dad's side, and this great man of God, minister, when I got in contact with him, he welcomed me back into the family. He gave me all information, and I thank God for him. So it's really a personal show for me, but it's also a great honor. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to hear from a great man of God, an amazing person, amazing family man, amazing father, and inspiration to me. I'll say, Pastor Terry Shanks. Pastor Terry Shanks, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey man, how you guys doing? All that great that sounds great, but it's nothing great about God picking you up and dusting you off, cleaning you up, and giving you another chance of life. But I am grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to be here with my brother. Around my house, my daughter called him Antoine Fisher because we were so excited when we found him, and I had been looking for him. I hadn't saw him since about 74 or somewhere in between there. But I do remember my dad bringing him home a lot over my house, brother, and he would always let me cut his hair. But then, through my behavior and the way I was living, I didn't get a chance to really keep up with him. But we were so glad to hear from him because we always wondered where he was, because my dad did talk about him a lot. And we always wondered where he was. And when I got that hit on Facebook, it was really a relief, and it was joy to the rest of my sisters and brothers. So, yeah, I'm grateful to be here, and I just thank God. Like I say, there's nothing great about what I do. I just love the Lord, and the Lord has saw fit to give me another chance.
Wow. Now, I know y'all we look just like twins, but he don't look this good. I had to tell my producer.
That's why I think I look a little better, but it's okay.
Wow. Well, we'll get into your testimony, but, we got the family watching. Okay. And say hello to your beautiful wife and your kids and the rest of the family. Say hello to them.
Right. I want to say hello to the Shanks family. Most of all, my wife, because my wife is the one that stuck in there with me through all that turmoil and confusion. And I thank God for her, because we have been together for like almost 30, close to 39 years. And it wasn't easy years. It wasn't an easy time for my wife. But since Christ came into our life, my wife and our family we have been tremendously happy and enjoying new grandkids and just enjoying each other, period, because there was some time lost through confusion, and she never gave up on me. So I really honor her, and I thank God for her.
We're going to get your testimony. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to the sponsors. Give a shout out to Brothers and Sisters E-File for sponsoring the show. Great owners, Derek and Darlene Hayes, some of my biggest. Also, shout out to Candace Down Barnes. Candace Down Barnes is president of Parker Education and Development, LLC. They have a conference coming in April. It's a 2-day conference. You can get all information to register this conference at www.parkeranddevelopment.com. That's www.parkeranddevelopment.com. They have a 2-day seminar coming up in April. You get all information. They're going to deal with 3 things. First thing is setting the stage for influence. because we influence everybody by what we do, say, and learn.
Yes.
So influence. The second thing is connecting civilians in connecting civilly. I can't talk this morning. My brother got me all shaking up. In the classroom, and at home, in the community. And last master class, identify your personal package to take action. Because if you don't know what you have in you, you don't know what you can do. So first of all, you have to identify your personal package and know what to do. She will be on my show. The conference is between April 11th and April 15th. She will be in Chicago. She will be on my show. When I tell you, she's a tremendous life coach, tremendous mind. She has a major company that's going around the country, empowering our youth, empowering our community, and empowering our people of all races, fashion, and life. So you don't want to miss it. That's coming up for, again, go to www.parkdevelopment.com. Now, let's get back to my brothers. My brother, when I met my brother, he had a great get together where I met all my other brothers. One of our brothers that passed, Buddy, he passed, and I thank God for being able to meet him. But my brother set me down with a heck of a testimony. And we're about to hear a testimony of what God can do. And no matter what it is, I'm telling you, it blew me away, but it's a blessing that he's going to share this testimony. And I pray it bless somebody out there that's going through it, just to show you that we deal with solutions, and God is the ultimate solution. And he can change a mess to a blessing. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot about my testimony other than, I have been in the streets for a long time, and I think it all started from, I think at about eighth grade, I had a brother up under me, a year up under me, but I think it had an impact when my father decided that he didn't want to be with my mom no more. And I was one of those kids that was looking for him to come home every day. I was thinking he was going to walk through the door. And I would always look, because we had just moved from one neighborhood to a new neighborhood. And, I was expecting him to be there. A dad is more like a protector, more like an anchor. And you could really count on a dad to be in the house. But when I kept looking for him, my mom finally told me, she said, "You might have faced it, because he's not coming back." And the reason she told me that, because I was the oldest out of, I had 5 siblings under me, and I had a brother. We was a year apart. So when she told me that, it was kind of devastating, but I never thought about it, because, I went on doing what I was doing, but I didn't have nobody to control what I was doing or let me know that, hey, you can't do that. I didn't have nobody to tell me when to come in no more. I didn't have nobody to tell me what I couldn't do. So I started doing whatever I thought that, I wanted to do to make me feel all right. So I would go out and hang with guys. I would go to certain neighborhoods. And most of the time, they talk about guys being in gangs, but when you living in those neighborhoods, whether you want to be in a gang or not, you still go to school with these guys. You're still around with these guys. So you're going to finally be a part of these guys. And that's what happened with me and my brother. But my brother was a little bit tougher than me. I was more of a nice guy, but my brother, when he got into it, he was pretty deep, and a lot of guys would come to me and ask me, "Man, would you go talk to your brother?" Because, this guy wasn't taking no stuff. Me, I was too busy trying to hang out and dance, and I wasn't doing nothing crazy then, but I was doing things crazy, but I just didn't get in no trouble. So during that process of me, being older, that meant that me and my brother had to take up for my sisters and brothers. And then that meant that me and my brother had to establish ourselves where you wasn't going to bother us unless, you was going to have some problems. So it's kind of tough growing up and establish yourself. You got to establish respect. You got to establish a lot of things, because, man, you letting them know that, hey, you're not going to mess with me, or I ain't taking in this, different things like that. But, we became guys hanging in the streets, and, we test things like everybody else. You test weed, you test, back then they had trees, back then they had powder blue and yellow dips, all kind of different drugs back then. And I'm a 70s kid, you see what I'm saying? And they had all those type of things back then. Every time you would go to a high school or go to a dance or something, man, you had to be in shape because that was the courage builder to talk to the girl. So a lot of us did that, we drank out in front of the parties and stuff like that. But I thank God it wasn't as vicious and as hard as it is now for kids to enjoy themselves and go to parties. If anything jumped off, it was basically us using our hands. It was rarely pistols used, but there were pistols around. People did have pistols, but we was basically hand users. We knew how to fight. We learned how to fight, learned how to box. We was hanging around in the boys club. We was hanging with some guys that loved to box, and they would teach us different things. So we pretty well learned how to take care of ourselves with our hands. But then, as we got older, things progressed, drugs, hustling, learning how to do this. See, I was taught by a lot of misinformed people on how to do different things as far as dealing with narcotics, how to put it together, how to put it in bags. I mean, there was a lot of different things that I learned from misinformed people because I thought this was the only way out. But I thank God for a solution, and the solution was Jesus Christ. But I hadn't got to that point yet. I saw a lot of people, doing things like going to work and, getting up in the morning, which I thought was, hey, that was swell for me. I don't know why they going to work and they could get money out here like me. But Lord and behold, I go to work now, and I get up in the morning. That's right. And I get up at 5 in the morning and go in and I work. And I thank God for my job because I come from a state of unemployment. But it was just a rough time for us. And like I say, the older, the more things progress. The drugs progress. I used more, and finally I met a beautiful young lady, my wife. And when I met her, she was kind of leery with me because, man, she was walking past the corner every day and seeing me on that corner. And she got some younger brothers that they would see me on that corner. And, we came from the same neighborhood. So when I met her, she was telling me, like, man, I heard you was, doing a lot of things. And I told her, I don't know who told you that, but I'm not, And she didn't quite believe it, but we was young, and we kind of started liking each other. And so when she took me home, it was like, man, her family looked at me and like, why are you with this guy? And man, she argued and she stood up for me. She never stopped seeing me because of that. But man, they wasn't happy with that because, man, they watched me on the streets all the time. And finally, me and her started really getting together, and things changed. And man, I wound up marrying her at I think around the age of 22, 23 years old. Wow. And we've been together ever since. So it was kind of rough, and then she really saw the true me because now, once an addiction comes, it's no more hiding that. You can't put that under the rug. You can't put that to the side because it's going to show its ugly head. And it showed its ugly head for a long time, man. And she was hurt, disappointed because of my actions and my behavior. I wasn't trying to be that husband that she was looking for. I wasn't trying to be the father. I wasn't trying to be none of those things because once that addiction gripped you, all those things that's important don't exist no more, for a brief moment. And, if God's able to bring you back, because you don't have to come back. See, you don't have to come back. I know brothers that died in their addiction. I know brothers that OD'd. I know brothers that's in jail because of their addiction. But God saw fit to bless me and protect me, and he brought me back. But the first 20-something years or so, doing that addiction, man, it was a miserable time for my wife, and it was a miserable time for my kids. It was truly a miserable time. But I thank God that she hung in there with me. She didn't say I had to get out the house. She didn't do none of that. She just was trying to understand why I can't get better, or what could she do to help me get better. And the only thing that she could do was just man, I mean, it really wasn't nothing she could do. She thought it was something she could do, but it wasn't nothing. The only one that could deliver us from any disease of that manner is God himself.
Come on.
And I know that was my only way out. And I was just explaining to my little brother about, how, I was, had got to the last of my, how you burn all your bridges. You don't have nobody to turn to. You don't have nobody to get no money from. You don't have nobody to, to even really talk about it. Because, see, I didn't know what was happening. All I know is, hey, I done ran out. Where I'm going to get some more? What I'm going to have to do get some more? So at one point in time, I figured that I would try to go to jail, do something to go to jail, because I liked the way guys came out, they took care of themselves, and they were looking fresh. But the part that I didn't get is that they went right back to using. So I didn't never see that part. All I saw was the fitness. So I wanted out. I'm like, I'm looking at these guys, man, maybe I need to, back in the day, we call it hit a lick. But I didn't have that courage. And then, you get the suicidal thoughts that maybe if I leave, everybody else will be better off. But see, it was a coward there because I didn't want to jump off nothing. I didn't want to pick and shoot I didn't want to do none of that. But those are just thoughts that, the devil gives you through that process. But I thank God that one night I sat on the bed. I had did some things, I couldn't get no more, nothing, and I was sick from the addiction, the physical part, and I couldn't move. I couldn't do a whole lot. And I remember sitting on the bed and aimlessly just crying out for help. And never not knowing that the help would come. I just said it because I didn't have no more dope. And really it's called a foxhole prayer. I said, something just to get me, get me through for that moment. But I know the next day, if I'd have got a few dollars, I would have went and did the same thing. But that next morning when I woke up, my life changed. Somebody came to my door and they asked me about, they told me that it was a new asbestos class. They was removing asbestos back there. To show you how old it was. But they told me they was moving asbestos. They had an asbestos class that they was moving, that they was going to start, and they was going to move. Class was opening, and I heard that you can make $20 to $25 an hour just removing this stuff. So I said, yeah. He came and told me, he said, hey man, you go down there and get in class, and when you get in class, you just don't know how much money you'll make. So I had a little sense. Now, I didn't have that much, but it's like a hell sense. So I said, yeah, I'm going to go down there. It was at Olive Harvey College down there on 95th somewhere. I think 103rd now. But I happened to go in there, and when I went in there, I sat down, and I'm trying to concentrate, and you can't concentrate because your mind is steady thinking about the streets. Your mind is steady thinking about getting out of here so you can get what you need. Your mind is steady moving like that. So I think at my last run, I had a little Tylenol that I'm telling you, I'm talking about way back. We would crunch the Tylenol up, and you keep that wrapped up just to keep what they call the sick off. So I had that in there, and I would run in the washroom, hit that just so I could feel a little bit, take the edge off. So as we were sitting there, it was a gentleman teaching us. And through the break, he started talking about addiction. And when he started talking about addiction, through the grace of God, it caught my ear. And I never been, when you out there in the street, it's hard for you to listen to another brother. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. But there was a tingling in my ear. And it had to be God letting me know, man, the help is here. Now we're going to see what you're going to do with the help. So he started talking. Now he's teaching asbestos, but he's talking recovery.
Wow.
So I'm laying there.
Come on.
I'm laying there asking myself questions, because it's like a burning in my ear. So we had a break in the class, and I went up to the desk. I said, listen, when you talk about that addiction, what do you mean? He said, listen, brother, he said, if you mess with narcotics and your life is unmanageable, man, you got an addiction and you need some help. And that's how straight and forward he was. So you know me, man, I'm like, oh, no, I'm all right. My life ain't, My life ain't out of control. I'm okay. But I never did think about the shoes I had on was ran over. I never thought about the clothes I had on, probably hadn't washed. And then I didn't think about the part where my wife has been taking care of the family because of my behavior. See, I didn't think about all that.
Come on.
All I kept saying is that, hey, all I kept saying is, hey, I'm all right. See, so he said, well, man, we can't discuss this no more. He said, if you want to discuss this any further, you got to meet me when this class is over, because I got a job to do. But if you want to talk to me, you meet me. And some reason, when the class was over, I was still standing around trying to shake it off. Like, no, I don't think I got that problem. I don't think I got addiction. So finally, he came when he came out the room. I asked him, I said, so man, what do you mean by this addiction thing? He said, man, how long you been getting high? I say, oh man, I said I was getting high when I was maybe 10 years or 11 years old, because I was sending, giving guys money to go in the liquor store, and they bring me and my partners out what we wanted, and we would buy them a pint. Now I'm talking old school, if anybody listening. But that's been a long time, and I thought about it, said, man, I haven't had a break from drinking or using for a long time. So I said, so what would you do? He said, well, man, I think you need to go to treatment. So I'm like, treatment? I'm like, oh, man, I don't need no treatment. Wow. And he said, yeah, brother, you need treatment. He said, man, you got to look at how long. He said, how do you work? I said, no. He asked me how much money I got in my pocket. I didn't have a dime. I mean, come on. I snuck on the bus to get there, and I was going to sneak back home. But that's how crazy I was. So he said, well, we got a program, man, 15 or either 30. So you know me, being the crazy guy I want the show in. I need 15. And he looked at me and said, no, you need 30, man. He said, ain't no sense of playing with it, you need 30. So I said, no, I'm all right, man. I said, no, but I couldn't go away from him talking about the help. And he said, okay, man. He said, you got any insurance? I said, man, no, because I'm not working, man. I didn't have no insurance, but my wife has. She had some of the best insurance in the come on. And so he said, anybody, your wife got some? I said, yeah. So he said, well, your insurance will get you in. So I'm like, I don't know, man. I said, hey, I gotta check this out. He said, no, man. He said, man, let me tell you something. If you start today and come with me, this is what this guy asked me to do. Come with him. Now, I remind you, I got a family. I got my wife, and when I went there, I didn't come for that. I'm sorry. That's okay. But when I went there, I didn't go for that. I went there for another reason. I went there for a Facebook. So I'm laying there trying to figure out now how I'm gonna do this. So I said, okay. Let me see. I'm gonna call my wife. So I called my wife. I said, "Hey, sweetheart," I said, this man I was talking to, he said that he wanted to take me to treatment because he said I got a problem." And she said, "Oh yeah, you do have a problem." Wow. He said, "You got to let him help you." I'm like, "Look, hold it. Don't say I got a problem." I said, "Don't do that." I said, "She's talking about you do got a problem. You got to let somebody help you." So I said, okay, let me call you back. I hung up the phone because now I'm mad at her because she said what he said. So now I'm saying I don't want, man, forget that. I ain't going to go. But the Lord, God wouldn't let her off me because I asked him for help and he giving me the help. So I called her back. I say, and to make it so bad, he want me to go with him right now. And she said, go. I said, how is you saying go? Why is you saying go? Come on. I mean, you telling me to just go with this guy? You don't even know who he is. She said, I don't know who he is, but if he's going to help you, go with him. Just go with him. I'm like, man, forget it. I say, so that's what you don't care that much about. I'm putting this reverse on her, but she said, just go get the help. Could you just go get the help? And I said, okay, I'm going to call you back. I'll call you back. So I hung the phone up, and me and the guy talked to him. He said, man, when you go with me today, he said, you don't know, your whole life gonna change. This is a new beginning for you. And I kept saying, man, come on. I kept thinking, and I kept seeing my buddies down there that used with, that I've been with all my life, man, you know, they ain't have to go where I gotta go. See, I'm asking God, why the whooping on me? And God just said, hey, man, if you do what I ask, you're gonna be all right. So finally I told him, I said, man, I ain't got no money to get on the bus. He said, I'll pay your way. So I was like, you know, I'm using every excuse. So finally I called my wife. I said, hey, swear, I was saying, I'm going with him. And she said, oh, man, I'm glad you go. I said, stop saying, you know, I was kind of, you know, a little irritable. I said, I'm going. And she said, well, call me when you get there. And I said, okay. So we walked out, we get on this bus. I think it was a 95th Street bus to the L, and we get on the L, and we get all the stops. And there's one stop, 47. That's where I'm from, and that's where all my friends at. That's where everything I need at. And there wasn't nothing that I need, because if I'd have got off of there, I'd have started to get bed for some money. I had started, you know, I had started the ball road. But it stopped at that stop for that brief moment. And I'm sitting next to him, and I'm looking at the door, and I'm sitting next to him, and the devil saying, man, jump up and run off, man, forget that guy. And the Lord saying, be still, man, and know that I'm God.
Come on.
And I'm sitting there,
wow.
and I'm sitting there, and finally, the door shut. And when that door shut, that was a change in my life.
Wow.
I think we went to, I forgot, it was a treatment center. I went when they had the commercial where this is your brain on drugs, where they was frying eggs and stuff. And I went in that treatment facility, and I remember that. And we got off the L, me and him. This guy still encouraging me. He's still talking to me. He said, man, you just don't know the decision you made, man. Your family gonna change. Everything about your life gonna change. And I'm like, man, I'm listening, but I'm saying, you know, do I really want this? See, I'm still thinking, do I really want this? And finally, we started walking out there. I'm watching everybody partying, you know. I mean, it was just like, you know, everybody partying, drinking, I'm passing liquor stores, and they laughing and everything. But see, when they laughed, when I wasn't laughing, I was in pain, you see. And I was in pain because, man, that thing had overwhelmed me. It had took over my life. And I'm walking past, and then, you know, the sound making me think I'm gonna miss something. And man, when I got to the treatment center, and this guy, we went in, he said, man, this guy walked me through the whole process. He said, hey, he took me in there, he introduced me to these guys. He said, this is Brother Shanks, and he coming in because, man, he's sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm laying there, and I'm saying, man, you know, I'm looking around at this place, and these guys clean, man, eyes white, and they looking good. But I'm looking like, man, you know, I'm still missing something. So now they want to evaluate me and ask me a couple questions. They asked me, hey, well, tell me this, how long you think you've been using? I had to go back and say, man, about 12 years since I was a little boy, a young boy. And he said, okay. They asked me the different things I use, and I told them I was, you know, and they said, well, how often do you drink? So I had to put it together. I drank me and Charlie Booth drank a fifth to start off. Wow. And I'm thinking that evening we drank something else, and then once we get the other stuff to go with that, now we rolling. So I think I drank till about maybe 10 o'clock till I passed out. And that's how I was getting high, and I never paid attention to the evaluation. He said, okay. So then he started asking me questions about, you know, my wife. I said, well, she okay. He said, man, I mean, she, you know, are y'all all right? I said, man, I think she's been carrying the weight. I just never paid attention to her. Wow. And then finally, he got all the questions. So he said, well, you ready to go back? So I lay there and I said, well, let me call my wife. And for a minute, I need to talk to her, man. And I called her and I said, yeah, I said, I just want you to know I'm down. And she said, that's good. I started crying. I said, what do you mean that's good? Why you keep saying this? She said, sweetheart, you need the help. You need the help. And I kept saying, man, I said, forget it. You don't care nothing about me. I hung the phone up, right? And so I had heard all these stories, you know, on the streets, they tell you a story about going in a penitentiary. You better handle your own, and you better stand on your own. So after I got through the paperwork and stuff, now these guys want to take me back and where the patient's at. So I'm already in my mind, man. Still say something. Man, I ain't taking it. I dare. I'm knocking. I'm doing. I got all this crazy stuff what I would do. So as I'm walking down the hallway, I see these two big guys standing in the hall, and I'm like, man, if one of them say something, man, I'm doing what I have to do, right? And all I know is one of the guys say, "You Terry?" I say, "Yeah." And he opened arms and said, "Welcome." Man, I fell in that guy's arms and started crying for 2 days. I must have cried. And the reason I cried because I felt that whole lift coming off my shoulder.
Come on.
And I was so relieved because I hadn't felt that way in so long. You know, I hadn't had nobody that really had empathy for me, because when you're in the streets, you got some friends. Don't get me wrong, you got some guys that really care about you. But the empathy part is that somebody understood the problem I had. And all it was is that, man, I had messed myself up, and I was headed to death. I was headed in a direction that I probably wouldn't have never been here to tell the story today. But I thank God for, the intervention that he put in my life. And man, that's been like 26 years ago. And I'm grateful that, I was able to get in the program. I was grateful that, the Lord saw fit for me to get the right people in my life. And I'm grateful for that. And that's been 26 years ago. So now I do fight for to teach brothers how to stay away from narcotics if they want the help. So you have to want the help in order to get, we got people in our family that you wonder why he keep using in this day and age. And this is 2017. And I know if I would have still been using from the 70s to 2017, I might not have even been there. I got a lot of friends that, man, they fell by the wayside, man. I mean, really bad with body functions, livers, heart. There's a lot of things came along because they stayed in that game too long. And I thank God that I was, that he saw fit to help me and pull me out. But it's another facet to that because, see, God gave me the chance. Now, I didn't have to take the chance. See, it was like a bus pulling up, and the bus driver said, "Hey, you gonna get on, or you gonna catch the next one?" See, I could have said, "God, well, I ain't gonna get on this one. I'll try the next one." Come on, man, it wouldn't have probably never been the next one. So I thank God I got on the first thing that he offered, and ever since then I've been okay. I'm grateful for my family now. All my kids are grown. I think I had my first sober kid at 40 years old, where me and my wife went to Lamar's class, all this type of stuff, because all the rest of them I was drunk in the waiting room. I had set up shop in the waiting room. I had people calling me that needed different things from me. I mean, wow. It was a crazy, careless life that I was living, and I didn't know how much of a jeopardy I had put my family in until one day when they tried to come in and get me. So I'm grateful today just to be here, like I say, to tell the story. I'm grateful for my brother. That I think he's just still excited because we don't see each other. For having me on here and just the bonding with him, period. Because lives be busy and different things going on, and I'm proud of him. He did some things to take care of himself, and that's he know what I'm talking about, and he looked like a different person. But I'm just grateful to my pastor, which is Major Fulton Matthews. A lot of people might know him. We all from down on the low end. That's what we call low end, 47th Street. But I have been seeing this guy most of my life, me and him, and we were like, we would be in the narcotics line, and when he either coming out or I'm either going in, and the most we used to say to him is they got anything or if they work it, and we laugh about that today because, man, he was a bad guy back when we were young. Man, he had a lot of things. He was a dress horseman. He was in magazines. He was a model, and he was doing a lot of things. But when we talk on an intimate level, he talked about the difficulties that he was dealing with then, with the narcotics, with the alcohol, and all the abuse. But I remember meeting him one day, and I was working at the Ritz-Carlton a friend of mine's got me a job there because when I got out of treatment, I had been cutting in this barber shop for like maybe 15 years, and that's where all my behavior came from. The drinking, the addiction, and not going home with money, and my wife trying to find out where I'm at, and all those irreputed things. But I met him when I got out of treatment. I didn't want to go back to the shop. I went down to the shop, and the guy asked me was I coming back, and I told him, I said, man, I looked around, and the shop scared me because I didn't never want that pain again that I had been through trying to get clean. I never wanted to put my family and my wife through nothing else like that again. Okay. And I looked around in the shop, and I know I made a lot of money because that's how I kept my addiction and everything going. But I never got home with the money. And when I looked around the shop, I just told them, no thanks, I think I'm gonna try something else. Not never knowing that, I was unemployable. I hadn't never worked a regular job. I remember I used to see guys get income tax checks, and I would just pray to God one day I get one, because man, they would really look good when they cash them and they give me tips and stuff like that. But I just didn't want to go back to that life, so I wound up going home, and man, I didn't want to go out with my friends no more because I couldn't hang with them because I knew the influence. My wife watching me because she wanted to make sure I'm sticking to what I'm supposed to do, and I just started making meetings, and in therapeutic world, you make 90 meetings in 90 days. You find 90 new friends. So I learned that, and I had a partner, like I said, he got me a job at Ritz-Carlton, so I was a houseman there, and I had to put the application together because I had never filled out an application because my whole life was in the streets. I never did work a regular job. I mean, I would wait for you when you got off from your job because I knew how to gamble and get the money from you. I knew what to sell to get the money. See, I never did work. I just was waiting for you to work. As long as you was working, I was working. But that was a crazy way to look at the world and look at life. Wow. So, I got a job down at the Ritz-Carlton. I remember standing out here, I think I had took a package up front at the Ritz-Carlton. And I was standing there waiting on the elevator, and here come my pastor. Here come what we used to call a major. Major gets off the elevator, him and his wife, Liz. Now, me and Liz went to beauty culture school together, and man, she's been like a dear friend to me, and I would always stop and see her. Even in my addiction, I would probably look in their window and something like that, or wave or something, but she always been a good friend to me. And I was so grateful that those two got together because I saw him one day when we was at school. But he got off the elevator in front of me, man, and he was looking so good, and him and his wife. I kind of had I might have had 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years clean. Okay. And when I talked to him, I said, man, how you doing? He said, oh, brother. He told me, he said, man, I'm preaching, and he said, I'm giving a sermon over here at Christ Bible Church. That's the name of it now. And I said, okay. He said, man, just come out and see me, and man, just come out and visit. So I told my wife I had ran into him, and she kind of remembered because her mother used to send her brothers to him to get a haircut because he'd been a stylist all his life, ever since he was a young man. And so I said, man, I'm gonna come see you. And man, I went and saw him speak, and when I saw him speak, man, he was so good, and man, him speaking was drawing me for some reason, and the reason it was drawing me because he speaks with a Christological understanding. So when I say Christological understanding, he speaks about Christ. Everything he talks about is leading up to Christ. So I said, man, I told my wife, I said, I like the way he speaks. So about that time, I didn't get back there, and I called him maybe a couple of months, maybe 4 or 5 months later, and he said, hey, I got a project in the works, and he said, I'm gonna call you back. And then finally he called me back and said, you know what? I'm finna get my own church. I said, oh yeah? He said, man, won't you come down there and hear me again? So when I came down there to him that second time, and I came in there, man, it was a beautiful service, man. First time he's speaking, in his own church. And man, I sat there with my wife. I said, man, if any brother needs some help, this is a brother that I'm going to work with. And man, he introduced me to Christ. He talked about Christ's death, burial, resurrection. He taught me how Christ did the finished work of Calvary, how Christ paid it all and we couldn't pay nothing back. He talked about how Christ was a substitutionary, all-atoning, sufficient sacrifice for us because we couldn't pay it. He said that our good was dirty rags. He said the only good is in Jesus Christ. And it's called imputed righteousness. That means that Christ's righteousness is the only righteousness that satisfies God. So he said that, he taught me a lot of stuff like that. I mean, a lot of things like that. I don't want to say stuff, but, it started to overwhelm me. And what happened is that he was teaching me in a manner of letting God do it, letting the Holy Spirit do the transformation and not him. See, when the Holy Spirit do the transformation, it's a time process. And the time process means that I don't have to go around and say what I don't do. I don't have to go around and tell you that this is how I do this. Man, I don't need to say nothing because if you plug into Jesus Christ right, but a process take care of itself, you will get tired of what you're doing. You will start looking at life different. You will start feeling different about who's in charge of your life. So that's some of the things that he taught me. And right now, me and him have been together in that church going on now, I think 15 years.
Wow.
My wife, when we sat down together, my wife, she told me, she said, well, you probably stay, but I'm not. So she was just saying it because it was new to her and everything was new to her. So I remember me and my wife going back on probably a third or fourth, maybe fifth time. And me and my wife was sitting down and the pastor was preaching on speculation salvation. That means that you think you saved, but you don't know you saved.
Come on.
So when me and her was sitting there and she asked me, she said, well, what did he mean by that speculation? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, but I'm like you, we need to find out. So he told us, he said, speculation means that you think you are saved. You haven't went through the process of being saved, but you can't really say when you were saved. So I'm like, okay, so speculation means that, a lot of people deal with water regeneration. So what happens is that what he was letting me know that just because you went in the water and came up, don't mean that you saved.
Come on.
He was talking about the regeneration of the heart.
Come on.
That you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. That you believe in his death, burial, and resurrection. See, when you say yes to Christ, you see, then that means that you have a sealed salvation. That the Holy Spirit comes in and lives inside of you.
Wow.
And he seals you until the day of redemption. Now, people don't know he seals you and he never takes it back. So a lot of people think that you could lose your salvation, and he teaches us that God is not an Indian giver. He's not gonna give you something, then he's gonna take it back and say you can't have it no more because you messed up. See, all of us gonna miss the mark. I still miss the mark. The pastor still miss the mark. See, we don't put high expectations on each other, but what we do is make each other accountable for our behavior. Because if we represent Christ, well, we should have a certain behavior. See, it's not you put, like the pastor talked that hokey pokey, 1 foot in and take the 1 foot out. Man, you either with Christ or against him. See, he teaches us that there's no demilitarized zone where you could just sit on the fences. One day you want to do this and one day you're going to do this. He's saying, man, dedicate yourself to Christ 100%. See, and that Christ, now we ain't gonna always get it right. Me and my wife, through everything we have been through, it ain't like we at home and everything all right, because man, she got some days and I got some days. And the reason we got those days because of the way we have to live in the world. She go to work, I go to work. She come home tired, I go home tired. Sometimes we bump. And then sometimes we go to our neutral corner. But one thing we know that Christ is the one that keeps us at peace with each other. We don't have to go gut shots no more. I don't have to say nothing to hurt her no more. She don't have to say nothing to hurt me no more. And a lot of times she was angry because of what I put her through. Because at one point she said, hey, I'm out of here. I can't do this no more. And when she said it, she waited good till I got clean. She waited good till everything was in order. And she said, hey, listen, I don't think we can do this no more because you still got the same behavior. Which I did still have the same behavior. But through the grace of God, man, he has purged all that. And it's a purging system that comes with Christ. So what happened is that we talked and I told her I was sorry and I explained to her, that if anything, if she give me one more chance, that I would make sure that I never hurt her or make her feel that way again. But she said, no. And I said, well, I just want you to know if you give me another chance. And then at one point, she said, no. And I didn't get discouraged. I didn't leave. I thought about my behavior, which she was right. And we talked about it. And I think one day I took her out. We went out to dinner. We went to eat. And she looked over at me and she started kind of crying. And I was crying. And she said, I'm just going to give you one more chance. And that's been over 20 years ago. And
you made good on that chance.
Oh man, listen, we had another baby. I mean, we had another baby, and I'm grateful for that. But that's just a small little portion of what I did. I can't get into details about who I know and who I was with and all that. That's not important.
And tell people what God took you in the church.
Oh yeah, he did. He took me as a minister. I'm a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ right now. Preparing for pastoral. Like I said, I got one of the greatest teachers I'm up under one of the greatest teachers, and that's Pastor Major Fulton Matthews. And I mean, I'm enjoying every moment of it. Like you say, man, I'm on cruise control. I'm here to let you know that Jesus Christ worked. That's what God requires us to do, to tell somebody about Christ. It's not a whole lot that you have to do, but accept him. Let the Holy Spirit come inside and live in you and start letting the Holy Spirit fight the other spirit. See, we born with a carnal nature. We the type of human beings that are born. Like I just had a new granddaughter. Now my granddaughter she's going on 4 weeks now. Pretty baby, man. Enjoying her. But I gotta understand that baby is a sinner. See what I'm saying? See, we born sinners because of the disobedience of Adam. So he cursed the civilization. See, nobody gets off and say, hey, I ain't got that nature. Man, you born with that nature. And guess what? That nature never goes away. So when you born with that nature, if you don't have nothing to combat that nature, man, the nature takes over itself. That's why when you see different things happen in the world, in the streets, the violence and stuff, well, that's that nature that has never been addressed. There's only one way to address that nature, and that's through Jesus Christ. See, when Jesus Christ comes in, he covers the nature in his blood, and now the battle is not so much strong. See, when it's called justification, we've been declared not guilty, that God has seen fit to save us through his son Jesus Christ, right? So justification means that it's just as though we have not sinned. See, that's why I said we are born sinners. And then you got sanctification. That means that we're set apart for the master's work. So God gives us something, and he puts something inside of us so we could go tell other people about his son. That's the most important thing, that we teach other people how to believe and how to be saved in Jesus Christ. See, And glorification means that we are satisfied that Christ, God is satisfied through Christ for our sins. See, now remember, we are still sinners, but through Christ. See, God has to look at us through Christ, because he can't look on us, because God don't, he's not comfortable with sin. So Jesus Christ, he paid the price for us. See, he sacrificed himself, and now God sees us perfect in the beloved. See? Come on. So what happens is, if you don't have that the Christ nature, or the Holy Spirit living inside you, you don't have nothing to combat that carnal nature that you was born with. So that's why the behavior comes. Man, like I said, I got a new grandbaby. Now my grandbaby, my daughter and my wife and all of us had to spend the rest of our life teaching the grandbaby how to do the right thing, because she's going to come out doing the wrong thing. If you don't give her the bottle in about a couple of hours, she's going to start kicking and screaming and acting crazy. Then when they get up, they're going to start to bother stuff that you're going to have to tell them don't touch that. See, we have to be trained to do the right thing, because, man, we were born sinners. We have to be trained to do what, through the word of God, on how to live. See, the Bible is a blueprint for life. So if we read the Bible, if we doing the best we can to be obedient to the Bible, we're not going to make the mark. Like I say, me and my wife, we still argue. I'm just glad ain't no tape recorder that'll hit what she says sometimes and what I say. But I thank God that we can still come to an understanding that I love her and she loves me. We both love the Lord, and we want the best for each other.
You know, that was such a powerful testimony, because I look at God using both of us.
Oh yes.
And there's always, you talk about what you've gone through, that great testimony.
Right.
And in my life, not having a dad that well.
Right.
I've always failed in 3 ways, and this is the first year of my life that I haven't failed. The devil, when I'm always at a point where I'm going to the next level, the devil always attack me in 3 ways. He attacked me financially.
Yes.
First year, I started reading these financial books. I started learning. Now my money make money for me, and I have money.
Right.
Well, I can be on a radio show, be on TV, and I thank God. He always attacked me in relationships. Every time that I'm close to going to where God wants me to go, I'm always in the fight with a relationship.
Right.
And because of not having a dad there, I always want to be there for my kids. He always take me and my kids. Through my kids. I'm always fighting with my son's moms about something.
Right.
That we can't be adults. We got to go back and forth in the court system. And we have to hurt our child going back and forth.
Right.
And this is the first year. Some major things God's blessed me in my life. And first year that I didn't fall into that blueprint.
Right.
Anybody want to treat me any kind of way, you go right ahead, you get no response, get no power. I'm not fighting my son's moms against my kids. I'm gonna be in their life, but you do what you have to do. The Bible says you reap what you sow, and that touch not my anointing, do my prophets no harm. I will bless those that bless you and curse those curse. So you will deal with that. And financially, and a lot of times we don't understand what we miss as kids.
Right.
To not having a dad or to few parents. But when God has a mark on your life like he has for us,
yes,
here we are today, and it's a great honor. People of God, you hear my brother deliver such a great message in his testimony, and you've heard me speak. And then let me tell you a little bit of history about it. I didn't know until my brother told me that my grandfather was a pastor for 4 years?
Oh man, he was a pastor till he died.
Tell a little bit about granddad.
Yeah, and he died at 103 years old. So my dad used to take me over there, and man, he would be, him and my grandmother had gotten so up in age that they was living in separate areas of the house. So when I would go in there with him, he would take me to see my grandmother first, and my grandmother would say, "Oh, he back there." I don't know how the breakdown came, but he was living in the back, and he would be glad to see me. And he was a pastor for a long time. Now, I didn't get to see him pastor because of the age he was when my dad used to take me over there. But my dad, he really knew the Bible himself, because he used to say little things, and about how one day the world, once somebody die, they're gonna be walking past them like it's nothing, and he would say certain things. So I could tell that he kind of knew the Bible, because he said it's gonna get to a point where death is not gonna affect people no more in this world. And I see that now because of how young kids see death, and they see death on the streets, and it's like, okay, so and so got shot. Oh, I saw it. Man, let me get back to what I do. So that's the type of world. He would always make certain statements. He would always quote little scriptures, but I never paid attention to him because, man, I had this resentment, and he tried to always do the best he can, but I carried a resentment because I think at one point he said something to me, and man, I must have snapped. I said some things to him, man, that changed his life, because what happened was, man, he stopped drinking, and man, he stopped, because he was drinking with me, and when he was drinking with me, we had got so into drinking that, man, he looked over and he saw himself in me, because he had created the same monster he was. And when he said something to me, I'm like, man, don't you say, I started going into this thing, man, about you wasn't there, man, don't bring me this. And man, when I looked up, he was looking at me, and he was mad, but he didn't never do nothing. So he disappeared for probably about 3-4 weeks. I was looking for him, but I remember my wife said, you should have said it to your father. But that's due to drinking and the different process we're going through. Finally, he came back around, and man, he wasn't drinking no more. And I had went to treatment. I wasn't drinking no more. And now we was able to talk, and man, we started, he started explaining different things to me, and we started to get a relationship, because I was cutting hair, so he would come to get a haircut. And at the end, he tried to make amends because he knew what he had done, and he knew how he did some crazy stuff. And I remember at the end of before his passing, that I had went down to my mother's house, and I've seen him sitting there, and I'm like, okay, because he wouldn't stop by there and sit again. So I went down there one day, and I asked my mom, I said, man, he been down there a lot. What is he hanging around? She said, hey, he was talking to me about some of the things he did, and he was sorry for them. I said, oh, okay. So I went back another day, and he was down there again. So he hadn't been drinking, man. He had stopped drinking after what me and him had been through. And my mom was steady telling me. So one day my mom had to leave and go out of town. And she said she was going to see her sister. So she wanted me to take her to the bus station. And he said, no, I'll take her. So I remember her telling me about this time when he took her to the bus station. And when he took her to that bus station, that was where they had met. I mean, that's where she had met him when he got out the Army, and they got married. And she said when she went and took him down to the Greyhound station, she said she remembered him asking her, oh, so you ain't gonna give me no kiss? And she said she looked around at him like he was crazy, because he had never said nothing like that, right? And she said she wound up giving him a little kiss on the cheek, but she said she laughed all the way to her sister's house, because it was unusual for him to ask her something like that. And man, after she got down there, maybe 2-3 days later, I went over there and found him deceased in his apartment. And the reason I went, because this guy was he was a worker, he wasn't a workaholic, but he was the kind of guy was efficient at work. And he would be there every day, wasn't late. He didn't mess with no job. I think that's where we got it. Yeah, man, I don't mess around with no job. I'm always there. I mean, you ain't got to say, hey, he late or anything like that. And so they called me and said that he was that he didn't show up. And I'm like, man, I know this guy show up. He don't play. And so I said, okay, let me get up out the bed. And so I went over there where he stayed, and I looked for him. And the people said, oh, I saw your dad. He came in last night. He went upstairs. So I said, well, he ain't show up for work. I wonder what's wrong. They said, oh, he looked all right to me. So I asked him to look through that monitor. They had a monitor that you could look at, and you could see his car out back. So I said, okay, well, his car out there. I said, I'm going to go up there and knock on the door. So I went up there and knocked on the door. There's a sign on there saying I'm all right. And because that's what they put in senior citizens buildings to let you know you don't have to do that well-being check. So I went back down and got the janitor. I said, man, there's something wrong. So when I went and got the janitor, I came back up and I told the janitor to put the key, open the door. So when the janitor opened the door, my dad was sitting up there with glasses on, and he had a paper in his hand. He had his feet crossed in a recliner. And the janitor told me, oh man, he up there, he all right. I said, man, he ain't all right because you couldn't walk through that door. That's the kind of guy he was. He had been in the Army, and he was light sleeper. He didn't play, and I knew then when I came in on him that he was gone. I said something wrong. So when I went around, like I said, he had the news on. He had his feet propped up. He had a newspaper. He had his reading glasses on. And when I looked up, man, I went around, and that's when I noticed he was gone. So after that, that's when I noticed that we had two more brothers and sisters.
We had a lot of other brothers and sisters we didn't know about.
So sometimes you just thank God for family, period. But
my dad was rolling.
Yeah, it was something else.
Now it's I got 3 lovely kids.
Right.
3 boys, you met them.
Yes, sir.
And but 3 different baby mamas.
Right.
So, but I love them. I take care of them.
Right.
But
I get I kind of. My father would have knew better, he'd have done better, man. Sometimes, I was blaming, you can't blame people for not knowing. And I used to do that.
That's powerful. That's one thing.
I did.
But let me tell you something you might not know. I'm going to tell you something, He died in 98.
Right.
At 95, before we moved, because we was living on 118th and Emerald.
Okay.
In 90, we moved in 96, November 96. In 95, he came over there and made peace with me.
Okay.
He made peace with me. He made peace with my mom.
Yeah.
He sat down on 118. I tried to give him a car, but he sold it.
Right.
But he made peace with me. And so he made peace and sat down with me.
Right.
Before he passed 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know he passed until you told me last year.
Yeah.
And he put me on the obituary. And but you say my dad was a slick dressing lady.
Well,
he had to be because he got my mom.
Yeah. So see, what happened was he was a pretty good looking guy, man. If I had a picture, you'd see he had curly hair, wavy. He come out of Atlanta, Georgia, and man, he liked to groom himself. I would be watching him while he shaved and while he cut. Then he would cut my hair, or he would cut hair. People hair in the building. That's where I picked all it up.
So that's why I like to get my hair cut every week.
Yeah.
That's why I get it from people.
He used to bring you over there for me to cut your hair. Well, that's brief. Because see, when me and my wife got together, he was a young guy. So he would bring you over there and I would cut your hair. And then he would go ahead and disappear again. But the thing was, I remember coming to your house in the projects, man.
8 floor, 809.
And he would know how to open the elevator. He would stick something up in there and pull it back. Look up there. And man, my sister's brother, he's scared to get on there because, he's talking about, don't worry. And that's what I liked about him, man. He was a tough guy. He wasn't nobody to be intimidated.
Yeah.
Man, he would come in them projects, and then you was his kid, he'd tell whoever it is. I remember, man, one day, he did not like games, man. He did not like it. And he was going to let the gangs know that these are my kids, and if you bother them, you got to bother them. That's the kind of guy he was. So he would come home and he would drink and he would get in this stupor. And man, he would lay there and tell my mama, I need a loaf of bread. And I need them to go get it, me and my brother, right? And my wife would say, my mama said, why would you send them out? She said, those my kids, I told them to go get some bread. So when we go out, man, we like, man, why did you send us out? Because, back then it was gang feud too. Right. And I was on one side, so the store was on the side that the opposition I was on. So he would lay there and tell me, my brother, man, I'd be like, man, we be asking, do we have to go? He said, man, I told you to go to the store. But what we understood, he would take the weapon, put it on, and he would walk behind us like a block, and he would watch us. and he would wait to see who was gonna come up and say something to us. And at one point, somebody did. He came up there and said, "Hey man, come in." And he started talking, and my dad broke up the street and told him, "Say, man, what you want with him?" He said, I said, "Man, get your own kids. Don't ask them nothing. These my kids. You go get your kids." Man, I mean, just talking about, man, so much crazy stuff, man, because I got hit by a car twice one time. And the reason I got hit by a car, my dad was the janitor of the building. So this guy gave me a quarter to go to the store and get him some money. So I'm out, man, I got to be about 7, 8 years old.
Wow.
And I tried to cross the street to go get the onion. Man, the next thing I know, I make it to the store to get the onion. But when I come out, bam, the car hit me. So I just go everywhere, the car hit me, I jump up, man, and I breaks upstairs. Let me regress, because the first time a girl pushed me in front of a car. So I gave one girl some candy and then that was crazy, that was a long time ago. But anyway, the girl started chasing me. So when she started chasing me around the backyard, I ran toward the alley. So when I ran toward the alley, I seen this car coming. Man, the girl was so mad, she ran up behind me and pushed me in front of the car. Man, the car hit me, man, and messed me up. And it was the guy that lived upstairs. So when I came back crying, a little scraped up. And I told him, "Father," she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Man, I just got hit by a car." He said, "How you get hit by a car?" So he dropped what he was doing to go out there and see what happened. So the man came in, he was telling me, "Hey man, I'm sorry. I don't know how it happened." And, I told him the girl pushed me, man, he hated that girl ever since. So as I got, when the car hit me, I must have fell and hit my head. So I kept putting my hand up there. My head was real soft. So my father was at the table reading the newspaper. We was all eating. Because we was family orientated around, we got pictures of us as a family. And so I told him, I said, "Man, it feels like," I said, his name Jake, they call him Jake.
Yeah.
I said, "Jake, I feel like I got a hole in my head," right? He was reading the paper. He said, "Yeah, I feel like I got a hole in mine too, just eat that food." That's how he used to talk. So I kept telling him, I said, "Man," I said, "Jake, I got he never paid attention." So we were sitting in church one day and he was an usher back there. He was on the door. And man, he said he looked down the aisle and he said, one side of my head was sticking so far up, man, he got his skin in the depth. He grabbed me out of church, jumped in the car, and took me straight to the county hospital. And he stayed there, until they found out what it was. I think it was some fluid or something. And that's when he taught me, he always taught me that lesson. Man, whenever your kids say something wrong with you, listen to him. Because he didn't listen,
I had that same problem, especially with my baby boy mom. He would have to be falling out because he take him to the doctor.
Right.
You know what? I pay all this money for this medical insurance. You got to go to the doctor.
Right.
If nothing wrong with him, so be it. But if there's something wrong, at least we know.
Yeah. So
wow.
He laid there, man, and he told me. They said, "Man, I remember this." He told me about what happened. He said, "But man, I didn't always listen to your kid." So to go back to what I started out with the quarter for the onion. So now I done got hit that time, right? So this time this guy give me a quarter to go to get the onions. Man, I got hit by a car again. So that's twice, right? So this time I get hit, I jump up, I run upstairs, man. I break upstairs and run in the room and slam the door. So he turned around and said, "Man, why are you coming in and slamming that door?" And I said, "Man, I just got hit by a car." And the whole block running up behind me to see if I'm all right. But I'm all right because I done ran in the house and shut the door. So people beating on the door, talking about where that kid go. So when they opened the door, he said, "What happened?" He said, "Man, the driver said I just hit the kid and he ran in there." And he came and got me, he said, "Come out here, where's you at?" He said, "What you doing across the street?" I said, "Oh, that man across the hall told me to go get some onions. He gave me a quarter to go get some onions." Man, he went over there on that stud, and man, he didn't fight him, but he told him, man, if you ever, in the language that he used, man, there wasn't nothing nice. He said, you get your own kids. So you almost got his life lost for a quarter for your lazy, he started going into it. And man, don't you ever, man, that guy was standing up there, man, he was trembling because, man, he was so serious about what he do, if you bother him in a certain way. And when you came to your kids, it's the same way with me.
Yeah,
man, then ain't nothing.
Kids, you in trouble.
Man, when you mess with my kids, man, it ain't nothing, that don't stop me. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna, but man, you set up a resentment because, man, I teach my kids to respect people. I teach my kids to do the right thing. Now, I'm not saying they ain't wrong. I had my daughter sometime when I used to go up to school for, I didn't go up there and say the teacher was wrong. I went up there and asked how can we resolve the issue. I said, my daughter needs to be in this class. I said, I don't care how she feels. Me and you adult. I want her to go back there, have a seat, and do what you tell her to do. Now, if you can't, I'll leave her a number, and you call me. You ask my kids. Man, when I showed up, I meant business because that education was so important. And man, right now, I'm and they grown, I talk to them, but man, I felt that way for so long, man. But it's a different area, different time, and I try to use diplomacy now. You don't do that type of stuff.
Let me ask you a question. You've been the glue to all our dad kids. You've been the one. You've been the how does that make you feel? Because we found out at our brother's funeral, and I want you to tell a bit about him. And we found we had a lot of brothers and sisters,
right?
And you've been the glue to keep us all together. How does that make you feel?
It's not that I've been the glue. It's just that, man, blood is thicker than mud. Man, my dad, out of all the kids that he had, even in the marriage and outside the marriage, he always tried to share part of him. And I know right now with him not being here, he wouldn't want me to be resentful because we ain't got the same mother or we ain't got the same environment. Man, that's how God set that up. That ain't have nothing to do with him. See, God is in control of everything, man. And I think what happened to him and how we met and everything, man, I think through his grace and mercy that that our Father would be grateful that we could come to a happy medium like this. See, like you say, I got an older brother, Eddie, and then you got two. Now, that's one brother, his name's Jerome. I try to contact, but he a little standoffish. He may have some resentment. And I had to accept that, you see, because really, I got the best portion, but I didn't get the portion I need as far as, the encouragement to go to college, the encouragement to do certain things. I didn't get that type of encouragement, and I missed it, and I thank God to be here now, going through that process. But man, it's always, you want somebody to root for you, like, man, you need to go to college, try this out, try this out. See, I didn't get that. The resentment came because me and my brother had to take over his part of the job of the protector. Then we took over his part of the job, the provider. So he was taking over his job, and he did the best he can because I never condemn people if you know better, you would have did better.
Better.
And he talked about it at the end about, man, I should have got a home, I should have got y'all a house, and I had a chance to do it because he was making money. But he would pull up and buy you a new pair of gym shoes. He'll pull up and give you some money to put in your pocket. He'll pull up, and he was trying to do it like that, but to be that encourager in the house, to be there at the graduation. I don't even think he was there at my graduation, and that really let me know then because me and my mom was struggling so hard then. And she had to borrow a suit for me to graduate in, and she was able to buy me a nice new pair of Johnson & Murphy's back then. And
Johnson & Murphy, yeah, it took you back on that one.
Johnson & Murphy.
Everybody know Johnson & Murphy.
Yeah, Johnson & Murphy's, and we had I had a nice suit, and she had a check because I was working in NYC then. You know how long that's been,
right?
And she had a check because if I made the money, I would give her half. If we made the money, we would give her half. She wouldn't take the street money because I probably didn't make it home. But when I had an NYC job at that age, man, everybody else would keep their check. They would be able to keep their check, but man, I had to give my mom that. Well, I had to give my mom something. If she said she needed it, I had to give it to her. And I remember she didn't have no money to give me for graduation, and I had got my last check from NYC, and she said, man, I couldn't figure out how I was gonna go out with my friend, and she pulled that check out and said, yeah, you know you got a check, your last check. I said, oh man. And then she took me to the currency change, I cashed it, gave her some money, and I kept the rest. But man, I didn't do nothing, no way, you know. But you know, it's just, you know, I thank God for Him bringing us together. And sometimes, man, you know, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord.
Yes, it is.
So, you know, I'm grateful to be skilled. I'm grateful to be, you know, not, I wouldn't call it glue. You be saying the glue to keep us together is great. Man, I don't need all that. All I need to do is keep thanking God and being grateful every day for what He has brought me. You know, I want to keep letting them know, man, it's still some work got to be done on me, Father. You know, God, is still some things I got to learn. There's still a lot of souls I want to win. It's so much that come along with this title. Yes. And man, you don't want the whooping that God will give you for abandonment of this title or misusing this title.
Wow. Tell us about, you know, last year, and if I didn't like, I'm sorry about the occasion, but I seen a whole family,
right,
that I didn't even know existed. I
right.
seen people that look just like me.
Right.
Like my middle son, he looks so much like our dad. It's
right.
crazy.
Right.
And this entire family of people that look like me, talk like me, walk like me.
Right.
One of our sisters a preacher. She's a minister as well. To know that not only am I not a minister, but I have. Tell us about, you know, our brother. Tell the people about our brother that passed. You knew,
baby?
Yeah.
Oh man, he was something else, man. He was like my right hand man because, you know, we was like 6 months apart. I mean, not only 6 months apart, but his birthday was this month on the 4th, and mine is on the 24th. So we would laugh and joke because we'd be twins for like 3 weeks, you know. Okay. Yeah, we'd be twins, but yeah, he man, he was a rough guy too, man, and man, me and him learned a lot of things together. And man, we were so close that we married 2 sisters. You know, his wife and my wife were sisters, and we've been tight like that, man, ever since we was young. I remember we would be out there hustling. He'd go buy some new clothes, and by the time he got outside, I'd be standing on the corner with the clothes on. So he would run up to me and talk about, man, why you got my stuff on? I'm like, man, be cool, man. Don't let everybody know. He's talking about, man, I just bought it. But I would wear his clothes because, man, you know, sometimes he pick out some cold clothes. So I would always wear it. But, man, we were so crazy that, you know, he was kind of shy. So when we would be in the house, he wouldn't be able to talk to the girls. So what he would do was he would lay there and he would say, hold on for a minute, I got to go to the washroom. Then he'll put me on the phone. Because I used to talk to women. I used to talk to women. Yeah, so I would lay there and then this girl would come up, you don't sound the same. So, man, he'll be laughing because, man, he was a shy guy, but he was a tough guy like my dad, man. He didn't play, man, and I was over the other day with his son. They had a nice memorial for him. And, man, I went through there, and it was good to see his grandkids, and he just one of his kids just had twins, man, and these twins is like maybe 2.5 pounds. That's how small these babies are. But I remember playing with the son that had the premature babies. I remember going with him to the hospital. He was like 2.5 pounds himself, so his baby's little too. But man, he was a bad boy, and man, we was known on 47. I hate to say it, we was known on 47 for years, and we always took care of each other, man. If I had a problem, man, man, he would ask me, could I handle it? And I'd say, man, I'm good. I ain't letting guys get in my head. And most of the time, he ran with his squad, Big Bear, Rat, Claw, Man, he has some
big bad red clown. He knows some old games.
He has a bad boys with him, man. And they didn't play, man. They didn't play. A lot of people didn't like to see them coming, man. But you know, me and my brother loved each other, so he wasn't gonna let nothing happen to me. I wasn't gonna let nothing happen to him. I mean, like I said, I remember at the I tell people, man, we've been my brothers at a party, some jump, we look for each other. There wasn't no running, wasn't no leaving each other. We'll look for each other, man, and man, we've been tight ever since. And he went through his addiction too, man, because you know, both of us was learning and going through that process at the same time. But through the grace of God, I got out a little earlier, and I always just waited and hoped that he got out, and finally he got out. But his health started getting bad. Sometimes, you know, they always talk about staying at the party too long. You know, the pastor teaches us about that me and him got out just in time, man, before the health and the different things start occurring in your body from the abuse of so many years. So, you know, I was working with a young lady, and she said she was smoking 60 years. So after 60 years, you got to understand what smoking will do to your lungs.
Right.
We're talking 60 years. Now, talk about 60 years of using drugs, 60 years of using alcohol. Well, your physical makeup, man, your body, it's got to give. You know, something is the system going to break down because you're abusing that system for that many years, and that's what happened with my brother. It wasn't that he abused the system; he stopped, and when he stopped, he had some health issues, and that's why I think he died from aneurysm because, you know, he was dealing with these headaches and he wasn't discussing them and he didn't let nobody know. And when we looked up, he passed, man. And right now today, I miss him so much. Man, we were best friends. We were, you know how you got a guy that you don't have to worry about changing or turning on you. And the guys I ran with was pretty good, but me and him was brothers, man. And right now, everybody said, man, you know, man, I miss Baby. That was what they called him. But, you know, God gave us, you know, what we need.
He allowed me to meet him.
See, one thing about death and people don't like it, but man, sometimes if you beat the next man out, then see, because man, you here and people taking care of you, they gotta change you, man. You gotta go on the scene. I'm dealing with certain things with my sister because she's sick. But the thing is that when somebody go out before you, man, it's really a blessing because they don't have to go through this turmoil no more. Man, they don't have to be in this confusion no more. Man, they really, I mean, especially when you're going to be with the Lord. See, that's the picnic. See, that's why I think about all these nice clothes I buy and all them kicks I buy. The thing I be thinking about, who gonna get them when I'm gone? Because I'll be like, man, somebody gonna have a nice pair of shoes, but man, because we can't take none of that with us. Okay. And we don't know where we're going. See,
we never seen a hearse truck behind us.
Man,
a Brinks truck behind us.
Oh, and man, I know. I told my wife, don't mess with that stuff. Get that stuff away. Find you a nice spot to anchor in and enjoy yourself. And I'll be waiting in heaven till you get there.
That's right.
Wow. Because if you love the Lord and I love the Lord, the Bible says we know each other in heaven. You see what I'm saying? Because that's how Lazarus knew. The rich man knew who Lazarus was. The rich man was in Hades. Yeah. But see, he could see over there and see Lazarus. Right. See what I'm saying?
Just cool, you know.
Right. You see how he played Lazarus all while he was here. Lazarus just wanted some crumbs. Now Lazarus over there with Abraham, living like a king. So that's how you're gonna be when you go to heaven, man. You're gonna enjoy it.
You had the pleasure of meeting my granddad, who was the pastor.
Right.
You know, when we preached, could you imagine what he would be saying if he was here?
Oh man, listen. I could imagine what my father said when we was here. Because man, he wasn't expecting none of that, man. His favorite word was, man, that boy Corey a pistol. You know, but we didn't ever see you. That's all he used to say. He used to say, you just like your mother, man. That's what his favorite word. That boy Corey a pistol.
Man, my mom, great woman, man. Her and my
I met her,
God bless
man.
her soul, put that word in me.
Yeah, I met her,
Leviticus Bible say, well, God put in you put in your child, God acknowledge.
Right.
And that word was always there.
Right. That's how my mom was. She prayed for me, man. I mean, and she called me before she passed, and she told me, she said, man, I'm just calling you to let you know I'm so sorry because I can't leave you nothing. I don't have nothing, to give you or nothing. I said, Mom, listen, you don't know what you gave me.
Come on. That's good.
I said, you gave me Jesus
Christ.
I said, I believe that in his death, burial, resurrection. Mom, what more could you give me? And she crying and she like, I could have did this. I said, Mom, you couldn't have did no more. You prayed for me. Man, I found Christ. I'm clean. I haven't used anything. Mom, you gave me the best gift. That's why I was at peace with her death. Because, man, when you're at peace with death, and she loved the Lord, I mean, I'm okay with her passing. Don't want to offend nobody, but I don't go to the graveyard because I don't believe my mama there.
No.
See, it's no more than the shell and the housing that she lived in when she was on this earth. But man, I worship and respect my mother personally to myself. I don't put a drag down on nobody. Me and my mama, we parted at peace. I remember seeing it. She said, "What's up, stranger?" Because she had went somewhere else to try to get better, and it didn't work, and she wound up back. And she was just glad to see me, and I was glad to see her. We went through so much. She taught me how to pay bills. She taught me how to let myself in with my sisters and brothers. I used to give me a key, how to go to school, make sure they get out of there. I mean, she taught me so many things, and I told her, man, it ain't about you leaving me nothing. Mom, you ain't never had nothing. Why you gonna leave me something? You left me the best thing you could have ever left me was me understanding who Jesus Christ is. I say I'm a rich man. You see?
Wow. Our brothers and sisters out there watching now.
Are they?
I know they're out there watching now. What would you say to them? Because look, they see us, family united.
Right.
We united as brothers. We united as blood. We united in God. What would you say to them, especially about how we're gonna unite everybody going forward?
Well, what I would say to everybody, man, we got to love each other, and we have to get involved with each other's lives. We can't lay here and somebody over there, we over there. I mean, we need to get together so we can get to know each other, so we can bond with each other, and we can start relating to each other. See, because we got younger kids, I got grandkids your son's age. They met for the first time, man, and they loved each other. They haven't had the chance to meet again. See, them little young kids, man, they was glad to be over there. Man, my kids was glad to see them. I mean, man, that's the kind of thing we should get together. We should be able to throw at least a picnic every year, or we should have a dinner every year. We should always have something to bond them. See, I'm dealing with a situation now with my sister. We kind of fell out. Daphne, you know Daphne.
Yeah, Daphne, firecracker.
So we kind of fell out, and I haven't really talked to her since my brother passed. But man, it's just that it's hard to, change is hard for some people because, man, they think you got something against them because you changed. Man, I don't have nothing against nobody. Man, I thank God for change.
That's right.
Man, it ain't about who's better or who's worse. Man, I am grateful to God for my family, period. Man, I don't care if one doing worse, one doing good, or one doing bad. Man, I'm grateful for my family, period. See, I already know that, man, I'm 15 minutes away, 1 hour, even 60 seconds away from destroying my life if I do something stupid.
Come on.
See,
teach that.
I don't have nothing special about me. Man, I still have the same thing that every other man has. I still see the same thing that other men see. See, ain't nothing special. The only special thing about what I'm doing is God gave me a chance to get better and to go out and tell somebody about his son. Man, that's all it is. I think wiser. I don't spend my money on what I used to spend it on. So that was an instant pay increase. You know what I'm saying? I don't go where I used to go no more because I don't want no problem. I'm too old to be talking about I'm gonna whoop somebody. I might not win the fight. See what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff. Real simple. You see what I'm saying? I don't go nowhere where I gotta worry about struggling. I don't do that no more. I just enjoy the little things, man. You know, like being here with you. I'm on vacation instead of probation. You know, that's
right, bro. Right. That's hilarious.
Well, I'm grateful. You know, I mean, I don't know what to do being on vacation. I wish me and my wife could fly somewhere. We went to our first trip to Punta Cana. Then we got down there and we started arguing like we was back on the low end. But after the dust settled, we were just glad to be, to be off of, off 47, out of the city. I mean, we were just grateful, man, and all of it came back. And man, we had a beautiful time, man. We laughed, we talked, and man, some ill feelings came up. She started remembering some stuff, and I remembered some stuff. And then I left her, and she went that way. And then when we looked up, we were looking for each other. So, yeah, I'm just grateful, man, just for life, period, and especially Jesus Christ, man, because He's the one that gives you the peace that the world can't give.
I think you're right. He blessed me with his radio show, his ability to touch people. Next month, your little brother be recording his first CD.
Okay.
It falls in line with my shirt.
Right. I like that shirt.
I check myself. It's your turn. I got new order on the way. I will be at Team at Ease 50th year anniversary. I'll be selling them, and I'll be selling them. But that's the name of the CD. That's the name of everything, because in the movement, in order for people to change, you got to change first.
Oh yeah.
See, your example will change other people by what you do.
Right.
And man, I'm excited about doing ministry with you, man. I'm excited about because you're on your way to being pastor, and definitely I am tremendously excited. What is it that you can tell our audience that you never told anybody, that we might not know about you, that I don't know about you?
No, man. I can just say that it ain't a whole lot of things that haven't been exposed, man. The most worst thing that I knew that I had a serious problem with, man, is when I was 18 years old and I was on narcotics. And it don't get no worse than that. See, the devil I don't have to have a part of my life that's not open no more. Man, my life got to be open.
Come on, man, say that again.
I don't have to have a part of my life that's not open no more. Through Jesus Christ, man, my life have to be transparent. You see, I cannot have little secrets or little holes somewhere for something buried. Man, I done did some stupid stuff. I done did some crazy stuff. I could tell you off the air, but I'm not gonna say it on the air because they might not let me back on the air. So I'm grateful. Okay. But I thank God for everything.
There is somebody, and I get a lot of emails, and I get a lot of inboxes, and I get a lot of correspondence on how a show changed my life. This is one of them. I'm sure that your story has touched some people. It's touched me. It's a blessing to be sitting here with my brother, and we're doing God's work together. There might be somebody that's in the corner right now that's going through addiction, that's going through a rough time, that's going through financial crisis, going through family crisis, going through identity crisis, but going through so many things right now that they only have this show to tune into right now. I got to get a message. What would you say to somebody right now that's in a desolate situation and they deal with such an adverse situation about making it and about deliverance? I want you to touch that person right now that's listening, need to hear a word from God.
What happens is that it's not as bad as it seems. You have a way out. All you have to do is reach out and take the help that God is sending to you. If you're listening to the show, that's a start right in itself. Because God is speaking through him and me. And he's letting you know that, man, whatever you're dealing with, I don't care what it is, God can take care of it. But you got to give him a chance. You can't let the devil tell you don't nobody care. You can't let the devil tell you, oh, they ain't talking to me. See, the devil's advice is like that. He's the one that makes you think it's a separation between you and God. It's not, man. God loved me, and he loved me when I was in my total mess. And that's how much he loved you. So you got a chance to come out of that. But reach out for the help. I wish I could leave my number because, I mean, I'm not scared to talk to no man. I love talking to me.
Go ahead.
You can always reach me at 708-845-6609. That's Minister Terry Shanks. 708-845-6609. Men, I always work with men. I have had sponsees. I have sponsored people. I have been a sponsee to other people. Man, I got a group of guys that we lift up and encourage each other. I had about maybe 6 or 7 guys that came in with me through the therapeutic world, and right now they got 20, 15, man, they almost up to 25 years clean. So you can be helped, man. Don't sit there thinking that there's no way out. It's a way out. Just ask for the help. Let's get together. Let's talk about it so you can get better. I mean, man, I'm not saying it's easy, but you have some help here. And don't miss the opportunity, because most of the time, the devil tell you, man, he ain't talking about me. Then he'll say, they don't know your problem. See, the devil always in your ear, because that's how our nature is set up. You're either going to feed the one or you're going to feed the other. And I advise you to feed the part that Jesus Christ is ministering to.
Wow, that's powerful. People, you're looking at a solution. You're looking at a walking, talking solution. Your test is your testimony.
Yes.
You got to make a decision in your mind right now to be your own rescue. That God will give you the help, but you have to take it. Yep. He can bring you there to the Red Sea. He can part it. We know God can part the Red Sea, but you have to walk towards the sea. You have to walk to. Don't worry how the sea is standing over. You just keep on walking. Even if you fall forward, you keep walking. But God is here right now. He never left you. Nope. You know, he never left you. And right now, the deliverance is yours. It is a great honor and pleasure to be ministering with my brother and to minister together. And you have to understand that you are not your was, you are not your situation. You are who God made you, even though you might look situational. Think about Lazarus. When God called Lazarus, Lazarus still wrapped with grave clothes. He was still wrapped with the dead situation he was in.
That's
but
right.
He kept moving. He might not have seen the miracle, but he heard the miracle.
That's
and
right.
He kept walking. And as he kept walking, stuff kept getting looser and kept getting looser and looser. And when he approached and got close enough to Jesus, Jesus said, set him free. Set him free. Turn him loose and set him free. See, if you keep walking close enough to God because you hear him, He will set you free, be your own rescue.
That's right.
Man, brother, wow, what an amazing show. We wind it down. I want you to say because we're gonna take us out. We got about 10 more minutes to our show.
I didn't talk that long.
Man, we didn't, you know what? Because we united family together.
Right.
We sat down and we bonded, and I found out about my history. I found out about my dad, things I didn't know. I found out things about my granddad I didn't know.
Right.
I found things about my family, and you showed the world today on radio, and you have not only lifted a weight off my shoulder, but you have created a bond that there was God blessed me to get that out of my heart for my dad, because you're right, if he knew better, he'd do better. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here.
That's right.
But you sat in the place of my dad right now, And you opened up a window to that side of the family that I've never had before. You gave me completeness that I thank God for. Now I understand where I come from. Now I know that where I get the preaching from. Now I know where I get the haircut from, the dressing, the love. Now I know where I get those things from. Right. And that's a tremendous gift. It got me choked up a little bit, but I'm in front of everybody, so I got to stay cool. Yeah. I got to be cool about it.
Don't get started.
But I thank God for you, man. I thank God for this bond, and I'm. It's gonna be one of the greatest days when I see you pastor your old church, and wow, it is amazing. It's amazing. So we're gonna be going out of it. I want you to give the people a word. Tell everybody about your church.
Yeah, that's what I really want. Yeah,
and everything. And you have the final words.
All right, I got one more tidbit before you leave that you probably never knew. Do you know that he was driving a car drinking, right? So he was driving in the car and this guy accidentally bumped. So he got mad and he got out the car, right? He went back to the man's car and started arguing. The man pulled a gun out, shot him in the stomach, right? This guy stumbles back to the car, gets in, and everybody in the car screaming. He's not doing nothing. He gets back in. He tells one of them to drive him to the hospital. They so shook up, nobody could drive him. He gets in the driver's seat, drive himself to the hospital. He go in there and tell the people he's been shot. He said the people didn't believe he was shot. He said if you shot, go over there and knock all that stuff off the table and get on the table. Man, he said he went in there and knocked all the stuff off, laid on the table, opened his shirt up, they saw the hole. He said everybody in the hospital started running. And man, they got that bullet out. So after they got the bullet out, he stayed in the hospital for a little while. And we was all used to running down the hallway jumping on him. And man, when we tried to jump on him, he jumped back because man, he showed me where he had split his stomach open. Went in and got 38 bullets. He never forgot that. He said after that he went and bought the biggest one he had escaped at.
Wow. My dad's something else, wasn't it?
Yeah. But like I say, man, it was a beautiful time here with my brother, and man, we always love to see you guys. We got a ministry, Pastor Fulton, Major Fulton Matthews, our senior pastor, and one of the greatest teachers. Like I said, we at 8306 South Road. We got a big event coming up, and it's the Crusade. We are getting ready to go out and take the ministry to the people now. We still be in our ministry waiting for people and welcoming people, but we're going out to touch the people. So we're gonna be at it's called Christian Bible Church on 4600 South Greenwood on Palm Sunday. It's gonna be a beautiful service, man. We're going all the way out to make sure we win souls. We're going all the way out to make sure you're comfortable. We're gonna have refreshments. He's gonna be teaching. Man, we're gonna have a beautiful time. And we've been putting this together. So today I got flyers come out, which I'm gonna give my brother one so he can really read across the ad so you guys can get the right information. And man, we would love to see you. Just come out for that Palm Sunday. But you can always visit us at 8306 South Rose, Dixon Elementary School. We've been there 15 years. My pastor, he's like me, man, he haven't had a drink in 30 years. And man, we celebrate this time and we enjoy this time. He got a beautiful marriage, beautiful wife. They just celebrated 30 years. I flew down to Vegas with them because they have family down there, and I performed renewing of the vow, man, and it was really, really beautiful. So we'd love for you to come out. And we have a theology class that starts 9 o'clock sharp. If you get there at 9 o'clock, we got an hour in that class. You get to ask the pastor questions. You get to ask them why you need Christ. You get to ask them, well, where did Jesus come from? Or why do we have to go through Jesus to the Father? See, those are certain questions that need to be answered because men have a hard time with leadership. Men do not like other people leading them. They want to be born leaders. All of us are not born leaders. Some are born chiefs, some are born soldiers. What Christ teaches us is that it's good to be a servant, period. It doesn't, the title is okay, but the servant is what's most important because he washed his disciples' feet. See? So he was a servant and he was a king of the world. So we want to get that understanding too. But man, we would love it for you guys to come out and see us at 8306 South Road. And to anyone that's struggling, come by there. Let's talk. Man, there's help there. And man, when you look up, man, you will see everything that Christ, that God has been trying to give you since the day we put our feet on this earth.
Man, again, y'all, thank you guys for tuning in to the Solutions. As always, revelation about a race. You know, in the race, you think of the revelation of the race. The Bible said the race, get ready. It said, get on your mark. You get on your mark. Get on the mark of God, where God put you. And then it says, get ready. You get ready. You got to get ready. Do whatever you need to do to prepare to succeed. Then you got to get set. Everything that happened to you is a setup. God got you for a setup. And last, walk into your destiny. Go. God has your future. He already predestined it. Walk right into it. We love you. Peace.
Peace.
Facebook, peace. Love you, brother. Woo, peace. Facebook, Brothers Unite. Wow.
See, I'm the school that sat in on the if you don't have me, I have a question. Got millions. They call me the miracle president on the pen for India like a life source. It flows from within. Call me the mastermind being that has made the massive movement of miscellaneous that happens to be mind-blowing millimeters that modulate misery and modulate misfortune. But it is I from my
oh man, let me tell you people how they tune in. Look at all these people.